Good afternoon, Miss Melanie and my fellow classmate. I'm Mac here. Today I'm going to represent you about my creation. As you can see, it is an iPad. First of all, let me introduce you my child. My child is with the name of Casey. He is a Chinese boy which is at the age of 4 years and 5 months while I'm conducting this study. So, from the sharing of his mother told me that Casey spent most of the time with iPad at home. He is very addicted to video games and watching YouTube videos. So sometimes after school, he also will fight over with his sister in the car for iPad as well. So let us look. Now let me introduce you the first application that I use for this study. This icon is actually representing my observations and is also the rationale for this Casey study. It is the first year that Casey started schooling, and at the beginning of the year, I noticed that Casey showed less responses in the class while I am teaching, as he likes to look around in the classroom and I have to repeatedly call his name to get back his attention. This is quite the kind of concern me as well, because it's important for children to develop listening and attention skill, as it will impact on children's development and learning process. It's the first year that Casey started schooling. Therefore, there are a lot more things that Casey needs to learn and catch up. However, I noticed that Casey shows more interest on outdoor play and free drawing session, as he will turn more excited and active while coming to this activity. Therefore, I would like to use this opportunity to build his attention span by planning activities that based on his interests. So this creation also can known as a C-pad, C which is representing concentration. Concentration requires listening and attention skill. Therefore, I would like to use activities and the knowledge on child's development to study more about Casey concentration. The second application that I use for this study is actually physical activity. Physical activities is well known as a promising way to immediately enhance children's cognitive functioning, concentrations, on-task and on-task behavior. So I have planned 2 activities, which is building the roads and animal yoga. The aim is to let Casey able to stay focused for the 20 to 30 minutes and to encourage active participation of Casey. So through the excitement of the activities, Casey was able to stay focused along the activity. However, Casey turns a bit unconfident when he faces challenges during the activities. For example, during the animal yoga, while there are some positions that Casey unable to represent, so he turns a bit unconfident and need for teacher's guidance. He stand there and waited for me to help. Therefore, through these 2 activities, I also noticed that Casey's gross motor skill was not up to my expectations, and I would like to study more about this. Coming to the third application, which is known as the milestone. Developmental milestones are defined as the things that most children can do by a certain age. So in order for me to get more in-depth look of Casey physical developmental milestone, therefore I have decided to use checklists to track on Casey's ability. There are some common gross motor skills that I have include inside this checklist to examine Casey's ability, which is standing on 1 feet, walking up staircase, throwing balls, walking in the zigzag, hopping and jumping skills. So the checklist was divided into 4 years old and 5 years old, and the results shows that Casey is able to perform 5 out of 8 criteria on the checklist of 4 years old, while he is only able to perform 3 out of 8 criteria on the checklist of 5 years old. So it clearly shows that Casey was still under the 4 years old physical developmental milestones. It could be understood that, as I mentioned earlier, he is only 4 years and 5 months while conducting this study. After doing few activities with Casey, I found that Casey could not pay attention in the class is because of he could not understand the lesson delivered and could not perform the work required by teacher. For example, there is one time that I am conducting a mathematics lessons about addition. So everyone was following my step, and Casey as well. I saw that he also tried his best to follow, but unfortunately he could not perform the work required and asking for my help. So it's actually because he could not recognize the number 1 to 10. So he is struggling while doing his work in this mathematics lesson. So therefore, I would like to build his Casey's learning foundation by conducting a lessons about 3 period lessons from the numeral number from 1 to 10. The objective of this lesson is to let Casey able to recognize number 1 to 10 and able to point out the number according to my instruction. So it is a way of teaching that offer individual and the children's play and achieve rule. So Casey is able to form new concepts and create abstract impressions of the properties and their qualities while working with the sensorial material. So through these activities, Casey showed interest in tracing the sandpaper numbers, and now Casey is able to recognize the number 1 to 5, while the 6 to 10 still need some revisions. However, Casey also able to stay focused for the 30 minutes of this lesson. Through the process, I have learned that as a practitioner, we should always reflect on our practice and find ways to aid on children's needs. So, I will further plan activities and lessons to aid on Casey's learning foundations. However, I understand that I could not always accessible for Casey's learning process. Therefore, I have introduced scaffolding in Casey's learning process. So, scaffolding in the context of children's learning experience allow the children to maintain engagements and motivations to complete tasks given. So it is also able to reduce children's anxiety and uncertainty within the learning experience. I have introduced buddy system in the class and have appointed an advanced learner to be Casey's partner. So Casey's concentration skill will be able to develop through the buddy system, and Casey also will be more confident while he faces any uncertainty while doing works by asking for his buddy's help. So it is also an extensive support to Casey before he becomes an independent learner. So here is the pictures that Casey shares the Mandarin textbook with his buddy. So his buddy able to point the words and Casey to Casey's, and so he will not lose track in the class. So this is the end of my presentations. Thank you for your time.